Have you ever watched a cute-looking anime only for it to turn around and absolutely destroy you? The animation looked so friendly and inviting, and even the characters were warm and bubbly. So what happened? Why am I now traumatized? Why am I now desperately calling my therapist to see if she can fit me in for an emergency session? Well, it's because these deceptively cute-looking anime don't give one single f*** about our feelings. And to be honest, I respect the f*** out of that. Do I have to up my meds now? Yes, but it's fall, so I was gonna have to do that anyway to combat seasonal depression. So today, let's unpack our favorite traumatic anime.
It's a movie about trauma.
And attempt to process the absolute hell that they dragged us through. I am your deeply traumatized host, Nat, and I will be leading today's support group. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future support groups, because Lord knows we need them. Heads up, we are going to be diving deep into spoilers in all of these anime. I'm talking ending spoilers, character death spoilers, the whole 9 yards, so this is your warning. So with that being said, let's get into it. Not gonna lie, I was super hesitant to start Ranking of Kings. I didn't like the animation style, but it was highly recommended, so I gave it a go. The first episode was cute and had some heartwarming elements. I was getting settled in, I was enjoying myself, and then the second episode happened, and good God, this adorable anime with such adorable characters pulled the most depressing backstory I have ever seen. We follow Kage and learn that during his childhood, he was separated from his mother, who was then brutally murdered right in front of his eyes while he was hiding and praying that the same monsters wouldn't find him. The scene where he sees her and starts wailing like when he finally escapes, he is mistreated and abused by everyone for years, right up until he meets our main character, Prince Boji. When the two of them set off on their own adventure, they deal with additional betrayals and heartbreaks. Boji is betrayed by one of the teachers who helped raise him, who not only betrays him, but leaves him for dead. With his royal powers stripped away and life path destroyed, the two are forced to find a new way through. The entire journey, although it ends on a high note, is an absolute roller coaster of emotion. I cannot tell you the amount of times this anime made me cry because I think I honestly repressed it. Like, I'm grateful for the journey, but good God, did it hurt to live through it. At least with this anime, we got a remotely happy ending, unlike a lot of the others on this list. Speaking of trauma, if you ever want to see me cry, put on the short film Shelter by Porter Robinson and Madayon. This short anime film music video destroys me every single time I watch it. And we're not talking about tearing up, we are talking ugly crying and hyperventilating. For only a 5-minute video, I never expected to be so deeply traumatized. So to quote Ted Lasso,
thank you, and f*** you.
This deeply tragic story is about a girl who lives in a VR simulation, which is really great because she gets to spend her days creating beautiful worlds. But there is a catch. She's alone and her memories are fractured. As the story progresses, she gets more of her memories back until the truth is finally revealed. The world was facing extinction from a fastly approaching planet that was on a crash course collision with Earth. So the girl's father worked day and night to create a spaceship that would save her while also trying to give her a normal life. Then the film ends with the revelation that the world was, in fact, destroyed. Although she escaped and her father's dream for her came true, her reality is now this. She will forever be hooked up to her virtual world, safe, secure, but alone. Like, what in the actual
Pain.
I'm actually crying right now writing this, and there's a good chance that I'm gonna cry again when I record this and when putting this portion of the video together, because reliving this journey over and over again is so earth-shatteringly devastating that I can hardly function. How do we even process this level of devastation? I don't know, fam. I'm kind of at a loss of words for right now. Like, I've been through a lot of therapy and have a lot of DBT skills to help me through life. And even with all of that, I can't think of anything. I think we're just gonna need to sit in and take some deep breaths. But let's lighten things up. Fruits Basket is cute. It's about a family whose members turn into the zodiac animals when they're hugged by the opposite sex. Like, sounds cute, right? Even the first season is mostly a comedy and it has so many moments that just fill me with pure serotonin.
Indeed. I know you must be wondering, am I a bottom or am I a top? Well, I am a bottom all the way!
So what's the problem? Oh, right.
Trauma.
And not only trauma, but generational trauma. And not only generational trauma, but abuse. So much abuse. And if we want to get real and go there, I think we finally need to acknowledge that Shigure grabbed Akito. And then he slept with her mother to get back at her, and then got back with Akito. Like, what? Or are y'all finally ready to talk about how Toru's dad grabbed her mom when he was her teacher and she was 14? Oh, you don't want to talk about that. You want to just keep watching the prologue movie and ignoring the predator in the room. Cool. Love that for us. Great job, Fruits Basket.
Stop it. Get some help.
But moving past all the and statutory elements, the way that this anime lulls you into a false sense of security with all of its cute moments only to pull the rug out from under you is devastating. The further you get into it, the more you realize that pretty much every single person in the Soma family has been abused and traumatized so deeply that many of them have become the perpetrators. Did Shigure kick off the main events of the series to try to break the curse and free the family? Sure, I guess, but let's be honest, he mostly did it because he was bored and wanted some excitement in his life. I guess what I'm saying is I don't like Shigure. But also he has like the greatest fucking character development that came out of nowhere that absolutely bitch slapped me, so yay for that. But yeah, the whole last 2 seasons are just a speedy descent into absolute misery as we watch all of our favorites get more and more traumatized. So what are we supposed to do after being trauma dumped on for 3 seasons? You know that I was traumatized because when the curse was finally broken in the 3rd season, I cried harder than I ever have to an anime. Definitely had to take a long break from this puppy, but am I gonna rewatch it? Absolutely. I actually already started with my bestie. It is wonderful. We can save the trauma for later. But this is without a doubt one of the finest anime in the genre, and it absolutely transformed all of us. For better and definitely also for worse. Okay, but let's actually get a little bit lighter. Let's all take a few deep breaths and recenter ourselves. Look, here is a cute video of these adorable high schoolers, and they have an almost laid-back camp-style club at their school. They're living at their school, making meals together, and they even have a garden. Isn't that calming? What's that in the background? Don't worry about it. They even have a wonderful teacher who is the club advisor, and look at that! They even have a puppy. What a wholesome anime about cute girls doing cute things. There's nothing malicious or insidious going on in here. Nothing at all. What was that? Don't worry about it. Look at how they interact with their classmates. Don't they seem fun? They are all totally still alive and not at all a delusion that the main character created to cope with her traumatic world. That teacher is totally still there. It's not like the main character is the only one who can see her because she can't cope with the brutal fatality that the teacher suffered to protect her own students. This totally isn't how her PTSD decided to present itself. Everything is fine. Fine. Fine.
You sure about that?
Okay, yeah, no. So what happened here in School Live is Homegirl legit could not cope with her world being overrun by the zombie epidemic, so her brain said absolutely not and decided to go with plan B instead. The reality is there is no school club. It's just the survivors who have barricaded themselves away from the zombies. They help maintain her delusion because with how horrible the world is, it just seems like the kinder thing to do. The club activities are not really cute activities, they're just daily ones that they can do so that they can regain some sense of normalcy. Yeah, this anime is but it's also super cool and such a fun concept. That reveal really did me up though, but this has become one of my favorite anime that I show friends with only the explanation of, look at this super cute slice of life anime I found for us. Yeah, it's but if you think that's bad, I also show all of my friends Devilman Crybaby cause it's important to bond with your friends. Trauma bond.
Trauma.
So Madoka Magica is a thing. It is cute magical girls doing cute magical things. Just with one tiny little caveat that the creature QB who gave them their powers is doing it with some f***ed up intentions. You can have amazing magical powers. You'll become a hero and an idol for your peers to look up to. Do you have to 100% sell your soul to make it happen? Don't think about it too hard. It's fine. We're fine. See, even the idol you look up to is totally, but yeah, I'm sure they wouldn't also do something equally as horrible to the main character too. Moving on. Ever wanted to watch an amazing fantasy anime filled with fantastical worlds and characters who overcome everything to achieve their dreams? Me too! And that's what Made in Abyss is all about. Cause I mean, yeah, like technically all of those things are true. Just don't think about the whole horrific brutality inflicted on innocent children, the horrific violence constantly inflicted on an immortal character who can regenerate, so she's just ripped apart over and over again, and definitely don't think about that one scene that makes this an anime that I do not feel comfortable recommending to people. Made in Abyss is just wow, like it's a lot, and honestly, if it had excluded that disgusting scene, this series could have been one of the best fantasy series ever made. But alas, it is that traumatic element which is the most difficult to process from this anime. And might I remind you, this series has this. And this, and this, and this. Gonna take a pause here and say, if anyone in the support group knows how to best lead this section, I am fresh out of ideas. I am not equipped or qualified to unpack this trauma with all of y'all, so maybe this is a horrible mistake. Oh dear God, what have I done? If you've ever watched a Miyazaki film, you already know about the wholesome, feel-good, empowering work that he does. The films that lift you up, inspire you, and motivate you to be the best version of yourselves. Yes, his films get deep and serious, but at the end of the day, you feel better after watching them. Except for Grave of the Fireflies.
This is what trauma looks like.
Now, I'm someone who watches the same films over and over and over, and there are little to no films that I've only seen once. I have only watched Grave of the Fireflies once. I don't think I will ever watch it again. That is how depressing and traumatizing this film is. Even though I'm never gonna watch it again, this film is an absolute masterpiece whose expertise tackles the aftermath of the bombing of Hiroshima. The way that it showcases how that devastation affected every single aspect of Japanese life is astonishing, and a masterclass in both animation and storytelling. This movie is one of the hardest things I have ever watched. It rips your heart out and then pulls the rug out from under you. And just when you start breathing again, they kill off not one, but both of the main characters, who are, mind you, children, who have just survived the bombing, losing their family and everything they've ever known, being shunned and abandoned by those who were supposed to shelter them, and then starving to death. Like, good God. Processing this type of trauma has so many layers because we're not only processing witnessing this horrific journey, but we're also having to come to terms that this was a real-life event. And although the main characters were fictional, every single thing that happened to them happened to real-life people in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. If you're watching this and you're also American like me, there's also the extra layer of guilt and shame that our country would do this to another country, that we could do this to people. I don't know, man. I think we're gonna have to cut the theatrics and have an actual support group to wrap up this video. With anime and other media like this, it is important to process the trauma either with a trusted person or ideally a therapist. Trauma doesn't just go away because we're repressing or pushing it away. It festers and leaches into other areas of our lives. This video was meant to be a comical look at the trauma inflicted on us from watching anime. These anime and others do potentially have the power to traumatize you, and I'm not taking away from that, but I want to get real with y'all for a minute and talk about trauma not accrued from anime. Now, I am not licensed or qualified, but I can share what I've learned from being in therapy for 13 plus years, being in 5 different outpatients, and attending a lot of group therapy. You need to recognize your limits. When processing trauma becomes too intense, it's okay to take a break. In fact, it might even be better. This break could be for a couple minutes or a couple days or maybe even more. Forcing yourself through trauma could do more harm than good, so it is important to work on it when you feel comfortable and are in a safe and supportive environment to do so. Treat yourself with compassion and practice self-care, and always reach out to your support team when you need them. I'm going to leave some mental health resources in the description. Please use them if you need them. And even if you don't, save them somewhere so you have them if you ever do need them. I'd like to thank all of you for being a part of today's support group. I know that this was an intense one, and good God, I did not expect it to get as heavy as it did when I first started writing, but at the end of the day,
It's the night.
dark, depressing, and traumatic anime can be unbelievably entertaining. I personally love it. I mean, like, Devilman Crybaby is my second favorite anime of all time, so that should tell you a lot about my personality. Sometimes it's just fun to get absolutely destroyed by an anime. And it's even more fun when you're not expecting it because the anime look cute and unassuming. I'm not gonna lecture y'all on what content is safe and right for you because you know your own limits. You know what's best for you, and if you do get traumatized, well, aren't you happy you saved those mental health resource links? I deeply appreciate all of you participating in group today. Please let me know your thoughts on today's session in the comments below. Group therapy works best when we are all interacting with each other, so please be constructive and respectful when addressing other comments. And definitely let me know if there's anyone who's making this an unsafe space, and I will take care of them. If you'd like to watch more anime rants that turn trauma dumping, that turn dear God, we're processing actual trauma now videos, please subscribe so you don't miss any more support groups. Thank y'all so much for being here, and I'll see all of y'all on the next one.
I hope you hate you like I do.